Despite all these cancellations, a hard reboot is probably the best choice for the new DC movie universe. Like we previously discussed, the Hollywood Reporter's report sent shockwaves throughout Hollywood and comic book movie fandom when the news broke that Warner Brothers and DC Studios would not be moving forward with the third Wonder Woman movie. This came on the heel of Variety reporting that the company's Black Adam stood to lose somewhere in the neighborhood of $50 million to $100 million due to its tepid box office performance. Warner Brothers has disputed the latter story, but offered no rebuttal to the news of the Wonder Woman's shocking demise. Which that story also included several juicy details about the future of the DC universe under the new leadership of James Gunn and Peter Safran. The biggest takeaway, which we somewhat discussed, was the closing the book on Zack Snyder's superhero run. This is wise both creatively and financially. Since its launch in 2013 with Man of Steel, the Snyderverse lurched from one misconceived movie to another, stalling out in 2017 with the god-awful Justice League, with Joss Whedon finished while Snyder dealt with a family tragedy. Though the filmmaker was granted the unprecedented opportunity to finish his cut, which Warner Brothers released to HBO Max in 2021, the studio was clear that this was a one-off to satiate rabid fan demand. Snyder would not be returning to the DC universe in any creative capacity. What this meant for the iterations of characters conceived under his watch was not entirely clear. Patty Jenkins' Wonder Woman and James Wan's Aquaman were wildly successful crowd pleasers, though Jenkins' follow-up, 1984, was disappointingly muddled. Fans were still generally eager for Gal Gadot to continue on the role, while Jason Momoa's second go-round as the buff Aquaman isn't due until December 2023. His surfer dude take on the character has been a welcome departure from the humorlessness of Ben Affleck's Batman and Henry Cavill's Superman. If Gunn and Safran want to keep Gadot and Momoa around, no one would complain. According to Kid, however, everyone associated with the Snyderverse could be on their way out. And hate to say it, but thank God for that. I am far from a Snyder hater, though 300 struck me as a silly fascist fantasy. I thought his take on Watchmen was a visually stunning achievement, but fascinatingly so, while Man of Steel felt like the promising first chapter of what should have been a long-running series of movies. Unfortunately, his Superman flick fell short of commercial expectations, which spurred the studio to panic and ramp up plans to assemble the Justice League. The resulting Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice was a dreary, overstuffed mess that amplified the worst aspects of Man of Steel. We just finished with Christopher Nolan's deathly serious Batman trilogy. We didn't need another dark superhero slog. According to the Hollywood Reporter, Gunn and Safran will pitch their bold new vision for the DCEU to Warner Brothers Discovery sometime this week. It sounds like a hard reboot is in the offering. Or in the coming, I should say, excuse me. This is the only way to go. While like Momoa and Cavill just fine in their respective roles, keeping them around would be an unwelcome reminder of previous missteps. John Cena's Peacemaker can continue his misadventures on HBO Max for as long as they can keep their bizarro character compelling. But the new big screen DC universe, which does not include Matt Reeves' Batman or Todd Phillips' Joker, should be completely walled off from the past. As for tone, I hope Gunn leans towards the sentimentality of his Guardians of the Galaxy movies. Folks who prefer their Cape Crusader yarns to play like David Fincher's Seven can get their grim fix from Reeves' movies. James Gunn's DC should remind us that the escapist superhero entertainment can be exhilarating and hopeful. There's a reason Richard Donner's Superman is still considered one of the best comic book movies 43 years after its release. As portrayed by the great Christopher Reeves, his Man of Steel took time off from battling supervillains to land a busted jet and rescue a cat from a tree. Superman actually enjoyed being Superman from time to time, and people cheered his heroics. Don't be afraid to play to our inner 8-year-old. Let these movies be a little cornball. But now we gotta take a look at the dawn of the Gunverse. One conundrum for Gunn and Safran is the existence of the upcoming Flash movie, due in theaters June 16th next year. The film is described as an unlocked picture, which suggests the studio has yet to make a decision on how much, if any, the Snyderverse to keep. Muschietti has expressed a desire to get back to the old Donner optimism, but it is highly probable that his star, the deeply troubled Ezra Miller, will be making their final appearance in the title role. I know they recently did a round of reshoots, and we've been told that the movie is, despite the behind-the-scenes turmoil, coming together nicely. Will Gunn and Safran be content to consider this Flash and Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom one and dones? If it's true that the duo is eyeing Momoa to play the intergalactic bounty hunter Lobo, this certainly seems to be the case. From an executive job security perspective, I'd be uneasy about turning my back on a pair of well-liked blockbusters. But again, as a fan of these characters, I'm very desperate for them to move on. The stench of the Snyderverse mustn't linger beyond 23. This is Gunn's chance to be Kevin Feige. To pull this off, he needs to be completely unencumbered by previous failures as he constructs his vision of the DC universe. And, forgive me if this is a revolutionary notion, have a goddamn ball with it. Fan backlash is inevitable, but fans always fear change. They also have short memories. I don't want a fan-sourced DC universe, I want James Gunn's DC universe. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below about the future of a new DC universe. Are you in support of it? What do you want to see? Are there certain characters you want them to introduce? Do you think we'd go back to a new Justice League movie? And who would you pick for a new Aquaman or Superman? Let us know in the comment section below.